Today's treatment is a brow lamination. My client loves her brows to look fuller, but still soft, textured and natural. As always, I also include a tint and wax when I do a brow lamination. She's been coming to me for over 8 years, so we know each other well, and so just to let you know, we do chat all the way through her appointment. I begin by cleansing her eyebrows and surrounding area with a water-based cleanser. And once dry, I brush the brows upwards using a spoolie just to assess the natural growth pattern and prep them for step 1. For lamination treatments, I like to use the Bronson system. I find it incredibly reliable and, most importantly, gentle on the hair. It softens and relaxes the brows without leaving them dry or brittle, which is something I'm very particular about. I dispense step 1 either onto the back of my gloved hand or into an inverted dappen dish. I use a lip wand applicator and I apply the product from root to tip, working from the front of the brow through to the tail. You want thorough coverage through the hair, but minimal contact with the skin. Timing is so crucial with lamination. So once both brows are covered, I start my stopwatch. I use my iPhone. For this client, her processing time is around 7.5 minutes, but this of course will vary depending on the individual and the product that you're using. Around the 3-minute mark, I like to check how the hairs are relaxing. I gently stroke through them with the applicator to assess their flexibility. And at around 4 minutes, I begin brushing them up into their new lifted position using a small dental brush, and I just work in light upward strokes. I ensure there's still plenty of product coating the hair, and then I allow it to continue developing. With the Bronson system, you also don't cover the brows with any kind of film, and I really like that. Once we reach 7.5 minutes, I do a final brush through to position the brows exactly where I want them before removing step 1 with dry cotton pads. I then neutralise with a small amount of cleanser. This is really essential because it will stop further processing and prevent overdevelopment. I will then dry the brows again and move on to step 2, the setting solution. This is going to fix the hairs into their new shape. Again, I apply from root to tip, being careful not to disturb the lifted position. With the Bronson system, step 2 processes for the same amount of time as step 1. Halfway through, I like to gently brush through with a spoolie to ensure that every hair is evenly coated. I find this particularly helpful for clients with thicker or coarser brows, but it's definitely optional. Once processing is complete, I then remove the product with dry cotton pads. And next we're ready to tint. My client has a mix of warm tones in her hair and then some cooler pink tones through her skin, but also yellow tones and cooler blue eyes, and so we opt for a neutral mid-brown. This just helps balance everything out beautifully. And today I'm using HD Brows Tint. I like to apply this with a fine angled brush, and I apply the tint quite carefully, just extending ever so slightly past the natural hairline for subtle fullness while keeping everything as precise as possible. I like to go in and clean underneath with a fine tip cosmetic bud, and I just find that gives a really nice crisp definition, even though we're going to wax. I remove the front section first to check the colour, and if I'm happy with the depth, I then remove the rest with dry cotton pads and a small amount of tint remover to neutralise and prevent further development. If you skip neutralising or toning through the colour, your client's brows could end up darker than you intended. Now we're ready to wax. I apply a small amount of warm cream wax, just a few millimetres below the desired brow line, and I work from the bulb to the tail. I twist the stick to distribute evenly. I then push the wax upward to create a clean, sharp lower line. I find that this technique gives the most precise finish, and it also stops you waxing too low onto that delicate eyelid area. I remove the wax in small sections using pre-cut strips and always stretching the skin firmly and pulling in the opposite direction of hair growth. After waxing, I apply a soothing lotion to help calm the skin and also remove any residue. I then like to go in with my tweezers, and I use a 10 times magnifying lamp to do this. I just find, particularly when clients are very fair, that it will really help me spot any remaining fine hairs. I grip close to the skin and pull in the direction of growth to remove the hair from the root rather than just snapping it off. This ensures longer lasting results for my client. Finally, I will cleanse the area once more and apply step 3. This is a nourishing lotion. Now with this step, I do always dispense into an inverted dappen dish because it's a much thinner and runnier formula. Trust me, if you try and dispense it onto the back of your hand, it's going to get messy. Using a clean lip wand, I coat every hair really thoroughly and I brush through a couple of times just to ensure really even good coverage. One final check to make sure I'm happy with the shape and all the hairs are laid in the direction that I want. And here are her results. Soft, fluffy, beautifully structured brows, fuller but still completely natural. If you loved this brow transformation, you might also enjoy watching this one next.